Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet again another Time with Tom on the deck. And as the description points out, we're going to be talking about how to ensure 2025 is your best year yet by discussing some common sense type of strategies that are simple. It's not a robust do this type of thing, but it is a fulfillment of if nothing changes, nothing changes. So, welcome. We're going to have some fun. I have a cigar, I have my cutter, I have the ashtray here and everything. So we're going to have some fun as I enjoy a cigar. And I'm sure we'll have some people here joining shortly. You know how the Facebook algorithm is. Let's this under here. The wrapper. Here we go. I picked out an SLR. It's actually a stick that I have not smoked yet. St. Louis Ray Hesho Amano SLR. So I'll take that main thing off right there. And do a V cut. 2 V cuts. First V cut. Turn it 90 degrees. Second V cut, you get a nice star. For me, it brings a nice pull. So I enjoy the V cut, 2 of them, nice little star. And I just recently found out I've been lighting my cigars not properly. So I'm studying how to. I have 2 different lighters. One is a torch and one is more of a, it's still a torch, but it's less robust. That one you can see, this one, a little bit different. So let's test this out. It takes patience to do it properly. I hope you had a great holiday season so far, and I hope you are ready for your best year yet in 2025. A little bit more. Nice. Got a nice pull, nice flavor. All right, so as promised in the description, we're going to be enjoying a cigar here on the deck. You may hear the beautiful noise here in St. Thomas. There's some insects and some animal noise happening, and hopefully that's enjoyable. And yes, there are a couple cars that drive by on occasion. I'm right by a pretty intense type of turn here, but anyhow, we're gonna have some fun. So, all right, here we are coming to the close of 2024. Guess what? Congratulations, you're still here, right? How many people started 2024 and aren't even here? If we really think about it, 150,000 people per day approximately die, right? So you're still here. Your mission isn't over. Your journey is not yet complete. You have more to accomplish. And let's just start with that related to my near-death experience. My near-death experience on September 11th, 1998. Yes, I had the bright white light experience. I was walking towards the bright white light. Halfway there, I said, stop. This isn't how it's supposed to end. I know you had more for me to accomplish. Send me back. And I woke up in the intensive care unit of the hospital with a respirator breathing for me, with the nurses and doctors telling me I may never walk or talk properly again. I couldn't talk and I couldn't walk, but I did shake my head no. I envisioned myself walking out of that hospital soon. And so let's start with step number 1. To having a powerful 2025 is the vision that you have for yourself. And what is that vision? That's unique to you. This isn't a competition with anybody in the entire world. The only if it even is a competition, is looking in the mirror and that person looking back at you. That's the only competition that I would have you consider addressing. Like looking at yourself in the mirror is probably one of the first things that are common sense, but I would recommend you do this and just look yourself over. And regardless of what physical health or shape you're in, or mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, just assess, where am I right now? And am I being a reflection in my thoughts, my words, and my actions? Am I being the best representation of who I'm capable of being? And for me, at least, I know I have much more to contribute to this world. And I hope you feel the same. If you're still here, and if you're especially crossing paths with this, my guess is you too know that you have more to accomplish. And guess what? You do. You're correct. So first step is getting real, like with yourself. And not in a beat yourself up type of manner, but in a manner of, here's where I am. How would I rate myself on a scale of 0 to 5 right now? In my health, in my relationships, in my finances. Give yourself a score on 0 to 5 for each of those areas, and then give yourself a general score of how would you rate yourself as far as you being that best representation of yourself. And this is a non-judgmental thing. We are where we are right here, right now. Yes, we may have had plans that didn't go to plan. We may have goals that didn't come to fruition. We may have had visions that we didn't turn into reality, but guess what? You're still here, and you've got more to accomplish. So that's the first step. And like I said, from a non-judgmental perspective. The second step, I would have you consider possibly having one of the most important conversations that I would have you consider being possible to be held. And who is that most important conversation with? Twofold. One, the version of yourself 20 years ago. So coming to the end of 2004, where were you? Flashback in your mind. Where were you as on that journey that you're on, this journey we call life? Where were you 20 years ago? And really get down into the nitty gritty. If you can recall, remember it's 3 years after September 11th, in 2004, 20 years ago. Where were you? What were your biggest challenges at that moment? What were your worries? What were your fears? What were your doubts 20 years ago? What difficulties were you dealing with? And literally go back in your mind and envision a sit-down conversation with that version of you 20 years ago and the version of you now. What's that old saying that I wish I knew then what I know now? Guess what? You've had some lessons. You've had some experiences that now, looking back at those big pressing problems, challenges, issues, you'll probably laugh at because how minimal they are compared to the challenges that you're dealing with now. Because I'll have you consider, life is like a game of Mario Kart. There's different levels. And remember, level 1, when you first start it, it's difficult, it's challenging. But after playing it over and over and over again, you get to master level 1 and you break through to level 2. And when you first get to level 2, holy cow, time out, this is too much. I'll never be able to figure this out. But guess what? You figure it out. One step at a time. Michael P. Neal, what's up, my friend? I was crazy then. No idea what life truly was. Hey, amen. And I can 100% relate to that. In 2004, funny enough, I got into the internet marketing, studying internet marketing in 2005. So 2004, lots of amazing things happening. I was still in the corporate world. And man, yeah, like you said, just I thought I knew a lot. And little did I know the lessons that I would learn in the upcoming 20 years. So that first conversation I would have you consider contemplating with yourself is you now having a talk with your version of you 20 years ago in your mind. What words of wisdom would you pass along to that person? If you were, like it is you, but if you were that mentor, if you were that person that could give some consolation, give some strategies, give some lessons to, what would be those strategies? What would be those lessons? What would be those words of encouragement that you would share with that version of you 20 years ago? And at the same time, what type of insight would you share, like the journey that has transpired in these 20 years? What type of inspirational, motivational words would you share with that version of you 20 years ago that could help pull you through those difficulties, those challenges? Because guess what? There's that old saying, if we were to have foresight, if God were to give us a vision of all that would transpire if we chose this path, what the difficulties would be, what the challenges would be. We many times would be like, whoa, hold on, I don't want that. Like, that's too much. I don't think I can handle that. We, just like driving a car at night with the headlights on, we can see a short distance ahead, but we don't see the twists and turns and the detours that are waiting for us up ahead, and the challenges, right? I mean, we're still here, first of all, so thankfully none of us are dead and gone, but we have many friends and family members that didn't make it in these 20 years. We're still here. Our mission isn't over. It is not complete yet. And some of you, I mean, Michael has had a couple heart attacks and done a lot of amazing things in the last 20 years, business-wise and personally and stuff like that. But there's been major challenges for each and every one of us. And Michael shares family always over business. That's a great insight right there. I can recognize very clearly I was in workaholic mode 20 years ago, 100% workaholic mode. And I'll share a story that might be helpful for others just to recognize what transitioned me to even bridge the gap, because I was bragging. See, workaholism is kind of like an addiction that people in the business world brag about. I worked 18 hours yesterday. I worked 20 hours. You know, I'm barely sleeping. Well, okay, but here's where the conversation really punched my heart, like with a metal stick, and just like opened my heart to realize, whoa. And it really goes back to 22 years ago when I was the publisher of the North Carolina Home Book. For anyone looking to build, remodel, or decorate their $1 million plus home in Charlotte, Greensboro, and Raleigh-Durham. And I'm sitting across from Ricky Rainbolt, who actually worked with Jim Rohn as a salesperson the same time Tony Robbins did in the late 70s, early 80s. And I'm sitting there talking with Ricky. We're having some coffee, having some chats. And here I was bragging about how hard I was working, you know, looking for, as Ricky said, hey, I can tell you're looking for me to pat you on the back and say, way to go, that's what it takes. You know, you got to hustle, you know, you got to grind. And what he said was, it actually saddens me. He said, if memory serves, aren't you recently married? At that time, 22 years ago, yes, I was recently married. He said, and also, I'm aware that you have a new baby, son, right? How, with you working that much, how much time are you able to spend with your wife? How much time are you able to spend with your new child? And it literally hit me right in the heart. And he said, he gave me this challenge, and I'll pass this challenge along to you 22 years later. He said, what would you have to do to get the same results in half the amount of time? That was his challenge. Like, so it doesn't impress me that you're working that much. As a matter of fact, he said, if you weren't getting any results by working that hard, something's obviously wrong, right? So congratulations on the trajectory and the momentum that you have, but I would have you consider the opportunity cost. Like, what's that impact having on your marriage? What's that impact having on your relationship with your newborn son? What's that impact that it's having on you? Like, looking in the mirror, are you happy with who you are and what you're doing right now? So this ties right back into Michael Neal's statement, family always over business. So when Ricky posed that challenge to me, he said, if you want to impress me, next time we meet, share with me how you're getting the same results in half the amount of time, of your time, right? How can you get the same results in half the amount of time? And in my mind, at first I replied, that's impossible. There's no way I could get the same amount of results that I'm getting working half the amount of time. And he actually clarified it for me. He said, listen, half the amount of time is actually a normal work week. So you still should be making progress, but do it again. How can you get the same results in half the amount of time again? So I bridged the gap by saying, what would it look like if I was getting the same results in half that amount of time? Where would I reinvest that newfound time, right, into the key things, my health, mentally, physically, emotionally, into my key relationships? And I said, okay, I accept that challenge. I will not be that workaholic. I will try to create some systems and processes that can help me get the same amount of results in half the amount of my time. And that got my mind thinking about, how is that possible? How can that be possible? And it allowed me to follow through with this next statement I'll make to you, which is, if nothing changes, nothing changes, right? Had Ricky not posed that challenge to me, I would have continued longer on that workaholic path. But he thankfully shared that with me And it literally like had tears rolling down my eyes when he hit me with that. And so I recognized if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if I'm looking to achieve the same amount of results in half the amount of time, how and what would need to be occurring in order for that to be a reality, right? So I went from thinking it was impossible to saying, well, what if it is possible, right? And really resonate on that statement. If nothing changes, nothing changes. More of the same is going to get you more of the same. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. It takes making a choice. This no longer is the way that I want to continue on the path. I want to make some changes. What are those changes for you? Right? And I'm going to lead right into what I believe is our most precious and ever fleeting asset, which is time. How and where are you investing and or wasting your time? I would consider this, hopefully, an investment in your time. This is going to remind you of some things that you already know, but you'll rehear. And some of the things may be new, but you'll hear it for the first time, and it'll plant a seed in your mind, in your heart, similar to how Ricky Rainbow planted that challenge in my heart 22 years ago. So the first thing we talked about is what I believe is the most important conversation you can have in your life, which is the one with you now talking to that version of you 20 years ago. That's the most important conversation. And then equally important is the version of you now 20 years from now. So right now, as we cross paths, I'm 52 years old. And so 72-year-old version of me, and not just any 72-year-old version of me, the version of me that is right now thinking, speaking, and acting in accordance with the best version of me 20 years from now. So we're going into 2025, so that version of you in 2045. And right away, I know some of you might think, well, I'll be dead and gone by then. Well, what if you're not dead and gone? What if you are that ultimate version of you? What if you, in this upcoming 20 years, follow some of the things we'll be discussing today, you make some changes in your thoughts, your words, and your actions, your consistency, and that brings you to that optimal version of you. So my belief is 20 years from now for each of us, so here we are going into 2025, going into 2045, there's versions of you that are not just multi-millionaires, but there are versions of you that are dead and gone, and everything in between. So I want you to kind of like take one of those guns that shoot a dart into the wall and has the rope behind it. I want you to pick of all those amazing versions and even the crappy versions of you. I would recommend you go to the higher than crappy version. Go to the optimal version that you can consider a possibility for you and say, yes, that's the version of me that I can see. Healthy, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually fit in all those areas. My relationships are superb. They've never been better. My finances are superb. They've never been better. That version of you 20 years from now. And what I would ask you to do is go from here to now in your mind and have that version, that best version of you from 20 years from now, come back and discuss life with you right here, right now. Thankfully, I did this conversation on my 40th birthday. And like I said, I'm 52 now, so 12 years ago. Talking too much. I let it go out. So have that version of you come back and talk to you, and I'll share with you my 6-year-old version. When I was 40, my 6-year-old version came back and he was fired up. He was telling me, look, man, you're on the wrong path. You aren't going to get here by doing the shit you're doing right here and right now at 40. You better get your shit together. And remember, this is the optimal you. This is the healthiest, most fulfilling relationships, most fulfilling financial situation that you can envision. That version coming back. And guess what? At 40, that version of me at 60 kicked my butt. And that's exactly what I needed to hear. I did make some changes, and it did put me on a trajectory. Now at 52, that version of me at 72 is less kicking my butt, but still has some reminders like you got to get your shit squared away in these areas, right? Like if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been doing, and that's not going to get you to here, right? You got to step up, and you got to make some choices. And so that's some serious stuff. Your conversation, I'm excited to hopefully hear some feedback. What would you tell yourself of that 20-year ago version? What would you tell yourself as those insights, as those tricks? And what would that 20-year from now amazing version of you come back, and is that version upset, mad, kicking you in the butt like maybe you need? Or for some of you, like, hey, you're on the right path, keep doing what you're doing, but, you know, amp up, you know, make some small changes, and watch how those small changes can make a huge impact done consistently, right? So it's up to you to choose to have those conversations, and it's up to you to let your imagination run wild and really embrace those conversations, right? And then let's just break it down. There's nothing you have to do, right? It's all your choice. This is the greatest amusement park in the universe. And it's up to you to determine what rides you want to ride. What's going to bring you the most joy as the joyous creator that you are. So, an example. When I used to go to an amusement park with my friends or family back decades ago, I was always the person, I want to ride this. And if no one else wanted to ride it, I would say, okay, I'll just go do these other rides, which are boring to me. Now, recognize that this is your life. This is your journey. It's not anyone else's journey. You're at the most amazing amusement park in the universe. And some people have challenged me on that. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But let's just go with the fact that what if this is the most amazing amusement park in the universe? It's your opportunity to get clear on what you want and what you don't want. And that leads to the next thing we're going to be talking about here, which is lack of clarity is the root of all failure. That might be a writer downer if you never heard that. Lack of clarity is the root of all failure. In your health, in your relationships, in your finances. See, when we go to a restaurant, they give us the menu, and we choose from the menu what we want. Here we are at the greatest amusement park in the universe, and a lot of people are wandering around. They aren't clear on what they want for their health, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. They aren't clear on what they want in their relationships. They aren't clear on what they want in their financial situation. So it's kind of like a boat leaving from harbor, not knowing what the end destination is. I would have you consider getting extreme clarity. And one of the first gifts I'll give to you is a training that I gave with one other trainer at the island of Tenerife. And we had 12 people there who invested 25,000 euro each to be there. And on day one, after this one presentation that I call Quiver of Clarity, we asked, who feels you got your money's worth from this work that we've done, this training that we just completed? Every hand was raised. They all thought that one training was worth their 25,000 euro investment. I'm going to give that to you for free. Go to mentormetom.com, mentormetom.com. Scroll down a little bit and you'll see that quote, lack of clarity is the root of all failure. No opt-in required, no tricks, no nothing. Just go access that training. So the converse of lack of clarity is the root of all failure is clarity is the root of all success, right? Where are you going? If you don't know where you're going, anywhere is the right place. But if you do know where you're going from here to there, I mean, just like GPS, you plug in, here's the starting location. If you're ordering an Uber, here's where I'm starting, here's where I'm wanting to go. And sure enough, regardless of the detours, regardless of any change in that route, it reroutes to get you to that final destination. So consider that is true. Lack of clarity is the root of all failure. And if that's true, clarity is the root of all success. Now, the other thing I'll inject here, and I said it in the beginning, but I'll say it again. You already know what you need to do. And especially if you have that conversation with yourself 20 years ago, you're gonna tell yourself some uplifting, inspirational words, how to overcome those challenges, which seem insurmountable. At least they have for me. Like, holy crap, how am I gonna get out of this? And somehow, some way, with clarity, with discipline, with commitment, somehow, some way, you're able to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, stand tall, get clear on where you are, where you're going, and take one step after the next with consistency to get there. But I see Mario Garza in the house. Mario, what's up, man? I'm actually going to share one of the things Mario, myself, and the Marines learn right away is plans pretty much fall apart when they meet the street, right? When plans begin to be implemented, they rarely go to plan, right? So in the Marine Corps, they teach us 3 key words, which Marines, remember, it's ingrained into us, but You may have seen it and heard it in movies and things of that nature, but those 3 words are improvise, adapt, and overcome. So yes, you want to be clear on where am I and where am I going in my health, in my relationships, in my finances, but you also need to know it's not going to be a step-by-step, turn-by-turn journey. There are going to be obstacles. There are going to be challenges for anything worthwhile, right? So when those challenges arise, it's up to you to assess the new information and determine, is that destination still the destination I want to continue to arrive at, or has that destination changed with the new information? And that's up to you, and that's up to each individual circumstance. This is a new cigar. I don't really smoke this one much, so it doesn't stay lit very long if I'm talking. I can get it fired back up. There we go. Okay, so that gift, Quiver of Clarity, is waiting for you at mentormetom.com. Go to mentormetom.com. Scroll down a little bit. You'll see that quote, lack of clarity is the root of all failure. You'll see the link. You can click on that. Go watch that free training. I'm gifting it to you. That was a training that everyone raised their hand saying that training alone was worth their 25,000 euro investment years ago. It's that powerful. And it's something that you can apply for your health, for your relationships, for your finances. It dives into 4 questions that you'll want to answer. What do I need to start doing? What do I need to do more of? What do I need to do less of? And what do I need to stop doing altogether? And that's unique and individual to each and every one of you that go through that. So I'm excited to gift that Quiver of Clarity to you. And that's at mentormetom.com. All right? So the other thing is, as a joyous creator, bring some joy into your life. Like, let's review my 5-step success magnet system. Years ago, I created this 5-step success magnet system, and it was the answer to many people asking me, Tom, how do you do it? Everything you get into, you rise to the top rather quickly. So whether that was in school, whether that was as an athlete, whether that was in business, I've been a national bicycle freestyle champion. I've been the honor man out of the United States Marine Corps boot camp. I was meritoriously promoted 3 times in 4 years. I was the #1 sales rep in 5 separate sales organizations. Went on to produce amazing results in the internet marketing space, and went on to also mentor and impact high achievers' lives dramatically, breathed life back into them, simplified their life, gave them happiness, gave them joy through the simple strategies similar to what we're discussing here. So the first step is vision. With that clarity, you now need to know that's where I want to go. That's where I want to go with my health. That's where I want to go with my relationships. That's where I want to go with my finances. Each of those areas, this is applicable. The second step is belief. Not just a belief like maybe I can, maybe I can't. A belief to a level of knowing that it's just a matter of time before that becomes my reality. That's the level of belief. Belief that if others can do it, I can do it too. Belief in your abilities. Belief in your follow-through. Belief in your commitment. Belief in your consistency. Belief in the law of cause and effect. Belief in the law of sowing and reaping. Right? Belief on many, many levels. And the third step is identify and align. And this goes into the mentorship. Find people who have done what you're seeking to do and align with them to the best of your ability. And here we are. Like you were now having this chat. And by the way, the chat is open. If you want to give any feedback, I see some hearts coming up and things like that. Feel free to type in any comments that you have here. But identify and align the mentors that can help you get from where you are to where you want to be. You could figure it out on your own, but you'll be charting new territory in many cases. It's much easier to find somebody who's been down that path many, many times. And when you find them, they're going to simplify that journey, make it much more expedient, with less challenges, hopefully avoiding the pitfalls and the detours and the dead ends, right? The mentorship is key. The fourth step is commitment to action. Look, you already know, as I've told you, you already know pretty much what you got to do to get healthier. You already know what the steps would be to improve your key relationships. You already know some things you could could do, some actions you could take to improve your financial situation. The key is, with that clarity, identifying those simple steps that, done with consistency, will produce the result. You will get healthier. You will have more fulfilling relationships. You will have more fulfilling financial situations. You will have much more joy in life. And that leads to the fifth step. This journey is brief. This journey we call life is brief. So one of the things I call the fifth step is the secret step. Have some fun. Have some fun. I mean, here I am. I was going to enjoy a cigar anyhow. I felt called to share some insights that may be able to help impact you in your journey in 2025. And I'm having fun. Enjoying a cigar, enjoying this conversation, and talking so much that this cigar keeps going out. Light this sucker back up. So the 5 steps reiterated. 5-step success magnet system, where if you were to look at anyone throughout history that has achieved what people would label success, you'll see those 5 steps implemented. Step number 1, vision. They had a vision. And it was a vision that got them up early and kept them up late. When I was that national bicycle champion freestyle rider, I would wake up, I would ride all day, sometimes forget to eat, and practice and practice and practice. When I was, a Marine, there were things I had to learn that I practiced, I studied, I took seriously. It's a vision that drives you to be that best version of you, to be the person that's not going to have to convince yourself to do things. You're going to do them because you love it, right? So that vision that inspires you, that burning desire, as Napoleon Hill calls it, that's the vision. The belief, step number 2, not a level of maybe it will or maybe it won't, but a belief at a level of knowing. I call it Beal-leaf. My last name is Beal, B-E-A-L, apostrophe I-E-F. Beal-leaf is beyond belief because it's a level of knowing that it's only a matter of time before that becomes my reality. 3rd step, identify and align. Find those mentors that have been down that path before, help others get down that path before, so that you can gain from their wisdom. At what Tony Robbins calls books, decades in hours. You can learn decades in hours from books, but you can also tap into decades from those mentors, steering you away from those cliffs, those dead ends, the pitfalls. And then the 4th step, commitment to action with consistency. Small, simple steps made daily will get you from unhealthy to healthy with consistency. Will get you from crappy relationships to amazing relationships with consistency. And also financial results that are amazing with consistency. It really boils down to that. One of my mentors had a quote, "You're either consistent or non-existent." Consistency. Ask yourself, am I being consistent with my health activities, with my key relationships? Am I being consistent with my financial growth? Right? Consistency is the key. And then the 5th step, have fun. Have fun. This journey is brief. I told you about my near-death experience, and that was September 11th, 1998. A few years later, I lost my mom at 52 years old in 2007. And I lost my dad 2 years later in 2009 at 56 years old, right? And those are 2 close to home. They're only 17 and 19 years older than me. I was born to teenagers, 17-year-old mother, 19-year-old father, raised around 4 divorces and 6 marriages as a child, went to 9 different schools by 8th grade, like lots of adversity, lots of chaos. And that led me to recognize the brevity of this journey we call life. And so that leads to one of the other things I want to talk about is add some enthusiasm, add some scarcity in the fact that regardless of what medical situation you're in right now, none of us make it out of here alive. The rub is none of us know when that occurs. We don't have a guarantee of tomorrow. We don't have a guarantee of next month. We don't have a guarantee of next year. Put some urgency behind your actions, behind those consistent actions. Urgency not in a hectic manner, but urgency in a it's mine to do. which leads to the other thing I want to share with you. We wear many hats. We wear husband, wife, father, grandfather, CEO, owner, marketer, copywriter, all the different hats. And we are the owner and operator of our trillion-dollar body, our billion-dollar body, right? So first and foremost, I would share that health is the greatest wealth. Without health, you have nothing. So I would have you consider for 2025, what are the things I can do to improve my health? Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. What are some things I can do to be the caretaker of this? Your body. And I give an example. Like here I am behind me. It's dark now, but there's amazing yachts. Hundreds of millions of dollars of yachts, tens of millions of dollars of yachts. You can rent yachts. You can rent planes. You can rent nice, amazing houses. You can rent nice, amazing cars. Your body. Think about this. If a dead billionaire could rent your body for one day, Steve Jobs, for example, not just my body, regardless of what shape you're in. If you're here plugging into this, how much would he rent your body for one day? The answer is all. $60+ billion for one day. We can rent the yachts. Some yachts go for $100,000 a week plus expenses. There's one yacht down there right now. It's $1 million per week plus expenses, right? They range in prices for how big they are and all that fun stuff. Our body is the ultimate vehicle. You are the owner and the operator and the caretaker of your body. How are you doing with that role? Like think about that. Step up your caretaking of your body, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. It's a big trend to get the 10,000 steps in, to get the walks in. Walking is amazing. If you aren't doing it, I would highly recommend you start walking. And it doesn't have to be at a super fast pace. It's just wherever you are starting this journey, walking can be transformative in many ways. Not only is it going to get your body healthy, it gets your blood circulating, it gets your oxygen circulating, it gets your brain going. Walking is not just an amazing thing for your body, it's an amazing thing for your mind, and solving problems and all sorts of crazy things, coming up with ingenious ideas, things of that nature. Walking is something I would highly recommend. Paul Savage says, here's to next year being better than the last 5 for all of us, gang. Yes, 100%. Amen, Paul. And that's the goal, right? Treat this as an experiment. Who can I choose to become that will ensure 2025 is my best year yet? The most joyous, the most fulfilling, the most amazing year of my entire life. And I went through those 5 steps: vision, belief, identify and align, commitment to action, have fun. You are a joyous creator. Are you doing the things that bring you the most joy? And when you can really find out how to monetize the thing that brings you the most joy, it's kind of like you have a cheat code for life. To get paid, to fulfill an amazing lifestyle, to fulfill the dreams that you have envisioned while doing something that brings the most joy from you and allows you to spread that joy with others as that joyous creator that you are. That's kind of the cheat code. So not everybody has figured that out yet, but I would have you consider, how could I get compensated for just being me? Me, my fullest, my most unapologetic, my most unique, my most genuine, my most amazing self. Because you have special gifts, and I'll jump to the next thing. There's one thing that separates you from everybody else in your niche, your expertise, your skill set. The one thing that separates you from everyone else, well, it's 3 things. PEP, P-E-P. Your personality, your experience, and your perspective separates you from everybody else in your field. No one has your personality, your experience, and your perspective. Put a stake in the ground and own it. Be you fully and unapologetically as you own your personality, experience, and perspective. And that leads to one of the other things I teach is I am me, F you. I just said it. I am me, F you. Be you fully and unapologetically. The F you, yes, is what you probably thought of when you first heard it, but it also is fully and unapologetically. Many of our divisive fear tactics separate us to not allow us to come together really boils back to, if everyone, in my opinion, if everyone were to embrace them being them fully and unapologetically, the caveat is as long as you're not hurting anybody, right? You're not intentionally hurting anybody, and you're not, doing anything nefarious. But I don't cross paths with those types of people. So as long as you're being you fully and unapologetically, if everyone embraced that, there would be no divisiveness. We can agree to disagree. We can encourage each other to be that best version of themselves without having any fear or anxiety or worry or concern or us versus them type of mentality. Paul says it's time to take massive amounts. Let me see what else he says here. Open that up here. It's not opening. Uh-oh. I can't see the see more. Oh, there we go. It's time to take massive amounts of inspired, prioritized, imperfect action and revise later. Yes. Get to events like the Marketers Cruise to network and see what's trending, gang. Yes. 100%. I'm super excited to see the Marketers Cruisers on this upcoming Marketers Cruise. I think it leaves the 11th. We go 11th to the 19th, but it's sold out right now. But it's an amazing place to do some collaboration, do some brainstorming, do some networking, and meet amazing people. 100%. All right. So, short fuse, long fuse. Let's talk about that. Short fuse, long fuse. This really goes to the relationships part, right? So short fuse, long fuse. I was just having this conversation with a few people here in St. Thomas, successful business owners. And the conversation came up, why is it and how is it that we can have a long fuse with strangers, with prospects, with clients, yet have a short fuse with our significant other, our children, the people that are closest to us? So the short fuse, long fuse. And we went back and forth, and we had some good eye-opening conversations, and it's like, of those people that are closest to us, many times we have higher expectations of who they are and how they should act and what they should or shouldn't do. And what happens is many highly successful people have short fuses with those people that are most important to them and have long fuses with strangers that they just met who are prospects or people that have transitioned from being prospects to clients. And I'm not putting down the relationship of a business owner and a client, but I just want you to have that epiphany. How can I have a long fuse with people that aren't as important to me as my significant other, as my children, as those people that are closest to me? Isn't that kind of a disservice to those people that are the most important to us? So I would have you consider asking yourself, how could I also give a long fuse to those people that are most important to me? If I'm willing to give a long fuse to the prospects and the clients, don't the people that are closest to me also deserve that long fuse? And if so, how can I have the patience? How can I have the discernment? How can I have the same type of mentality that you have with the prospects and clients when you're dealing with those people that are closest to you? Paul says, I think the realization that mindset is everything, and realize that 1,700 Americans become millionaires daily. Looking forward to seeing future posts from you, Tom. Awesome, Paul. Yeah, 100%. Yes, sir. LaShawn in the house here. Semper Fi, Marine. Good to see you here. So I would have you consider contemplating that short fuse, long fuse. Why is it that I can give my long fuse to those prospects and clients and many times give a short fuse to those people that are closest to me? Right? Don't those people closest to me deserve that long fuse version of me? Semper Fi indeed. So something to consider, right? And you heard me mention this several times in the conversation so far, but I break life down into 3 separate areas: health, relationships, and finances. We are where we are in each of those areas. I ask you to rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 5 in each of them, or consider doing that. But then the question is, with gaining that clarity of here's where I am, my starting point, where do I want to be? Jump forward in time 90 days. Where would you want to be 90 days from now with your health, with your key relationships, with your finances, that can really dial it back to that clarity that you now have? What actions would be necessary? What thoughts, words, and actions would need to be in application consistently that can help me make significant progress? One step, one day at a time, right? It's amazing how far you can go with consistently taking one step after the next. Not every day you're going to have a life world-changing scenario most of the time. But what it really boils back to is a quote that says, big doors swing on small hinges. Think about that. Big doors swing on small hinges. It's those small, seemingly insignificant tasks that you do with consistency that are going to get you to that optimal version of you in your health, in those optimal relationships, and in the optimal financial situations. The seemingly small, insignificant tasks done consistently is really where it boils down, right? So once again, it all goes back to clarity. What do you want? A lot of people, and here we are in the distraction age, like the literal world is one big distraction. And then you add in this phone, amazing tool, but also there to steal your most precious and ever-fleeting asset of time, if you think about it. I'll give you an example that, if you haven't heard it before, will blow your mind. If you have heard it before, it will remind you of how simple scrolling, mindless scrolling, can steal significant amounts of time of your life. All right, so 30 minutes of mindless swiping a day. 30 minutes of mindless swiping. And you and I can both agree, we can all agree, 30 minutes of mindless swiping that's done easily, right? 30 minutes of mindless swiping done throughout a year, and you can do the math. 30 minutes a day times 365 is going to give you the amount of minutes, and then divide that by 60. That's going to give you the hours, and then divide that by 40, and you're going to get 4.5 40-hour work weeks. 30 minutes of mindless swiping a day is 4.5 40-hour work weeks. And I worked a 40-hour work week, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, right? That's a significant amount of time, right? 30 minutes a day. And guess what? You and I both know it's way more than 30 minutes. Let's just go an hour. And many of us, we know that's also very low. 30 minutes of mindless swiping is 4.5 40-hour work weeks. Let's go by an hour. 1 hour a day of mindless swiping is 9 40-hour work weeks. That's 2 months and 1 week gone from 1 hour of mindless swiping. And by the way, this also, I would have you consider, incorporates binge watching Netflix, things of that nature. Anything that is tapping into your most precious and fleeting asset of time, right? And guess what? Here we have this amazing device, the phone, but it also has social media, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all these things. And my friend Brendan Bouchard talks about browser blackout. Like, you'll be working away and you're like, oh, let me go check this thing out on YouTube. You go to YouTube, next thing you know, 2 hours have disappeared. Then you incorporate Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, all the different things that you can also engage with, TV shows and movies. And 60 minutes a day of mindless swiping, wasted time, equals 9 40-hour work weeks at the end of the year. So when you hear that, like, I've had clients text me and they'll be like, dude, I just caught myself mindless swiping. Thank you. And I also had friends text me and say, hey, dude, I gave my wife my long fuse instead of the short fuse. I would have had a short fuse, but just knowing short fuse, long fuse, she deserves the long fuse. And just like you'll have that patience with a client who doesn't understand stuff, you'll give your significant other that long fuse version of you. And when you learn the quiver of clarity, those 4 questions, what do I need to start doing? The one thing that will 10x my results that I'm not currently doing. What do I need to do more of? The 3 to 4 tasks that are the most important tasks to get from here to there. What do I need to do more of? 3 to 4 of those tasks. And what do I need to do less of? Those are the 80% of tasks that only produce 20% of the results. Do less of those. And then what do I need to stop doing altogether? That's individual for each of us, right? What's the one thing that your life would be much better if you stopped doing it altogether? Different answer for each of us, right? And I don't name names, but in this age of attention that we have, I mean, you got dating apps, you got porn, you got social media, you got movies, you got TV, you got gambling. All these different things are all tapping into your most precious and ever fleeting asset. And a lot of people say, well, Tom, am I not supposed to have any fun? No, you heard me say earlier, have fun in this brief journey, but be intentional. Mindless swiping. Mindless swiping is what we're talking about. We're not talking about intentional. There's times when you're like, you know what? It's time for me to veg out. I'm going to go watch a TV show. I'm going to go watch a movie, whatever. That's up to you to make that discernment. And it really boils back to, of all the different hats that you wear, continually ask yourself, what's mine to do now? Now, when I was in workaholic mode, I thought the only answer that could be to that question was a revenue-producing activity. When I was in workaholic mode, whenever I asked myself, what's mine to do now? Okay, what's that revenue-producing activity I should be doing? Well, guess what? When you are evolved to the point where you now touch space with your heart and you recognize you got numerous hats, as that husband, as that wife, as that father, as that grandfather, as that business owner, what's mine to do now? Sometimes what's mine to do now is close everything down and go for a walk for myself. Other times, close everything down and go out on a date with my significant other, with my children, you know, those types of things. Use your discernment of all the hats that you wear and all the different roles that you have. What's yours to do? And don't neglect and don't escape through workaholism the other responsibilities and hats that you have, the other roles that you have. Let me see, we got some more comments here. Paul says, I think that surrounding yourself with the right people along the way makes a difference. From your experience with the Marine Corps to building relationships with people like Michael Same and having a solid plan makes all the difference. Learning to say no to things that don't add to your future self is also important. 100%, 100% on point. And Paul, be intentional. Nails it, brother. Yes, live your life intentionally. This actually is a necklace that you get when you join Tony Robbins' Platinum Partner program. And this is an intention necklace. When you put it on in the morning, state an intention. What's my intention for today? And many times, my intention is to be me fully and unapologetically, but be me at that level, giving my presence to everyone I cross paths with. Your presence is a gift. You know, we just finished Christmas, and we got birthdays, and we got anniversaries, and all this stuff, and we give each other presents. Well, the biggest gift you can give the people that you cross paths with is your presence. To be present, to be here now. Your mind isn't in the past, your mind isn't in the future, it's right here with the people that you're engaged with. When you give your presence at that level, you automatically separate yourself from everybody. I mean, think about it. How many times are you talking with somebody and they're flipping through their phone? Yep, yep, You want to grab the phone and chuck it because you know they're not paying any attention, right? Giving your presence is the biggest gift that you can give. Your friends, your family, your coworkers, your employees, your clients. Be present. So a lot of times I put my intention necklace on and I state my intention for today is to be present. Be myself fully and unapologetically. Be someone who leaves places better than when he got there. And it comes from being present. Like right now, I have 0 notes. I have 0 agenda other than sharing these things right off the top of my head. So I hope it is resonating with you. And I hope these simple steps and strategies will give you an understanding that you can take steps that, going back to the quote we started with, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Once you gain clarity, here's where I am, here's where I'm going, the steps are pretty simple. The decisions are much easier. You've made the decision in advance. And with consistency, you'll see 30 days, 60 days, 90 days down the road, results coming in because you're taking consistent action, getting healthier, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, getting into more fulfilling relationships, taking your relationships, which may be somewhat broken, to healing them and turning it into an amazing adventure. And same thing with your finances. All right. So I just felt called to come on here, share some insights. Hopefully you found these helpful. The one gift I do have for you is at mentormetom.com. Go to mentormetom.com. Scroll down a little bit and you'll see lack of clarity is the root of all failure. That's that training that when we conducted that mastermind at the island of Tenerife, everybody raised their hand saying that was worth their price of admission. Each of them invested 25,000 euro to be there. So go to mentormetom.com, go through this video, rewind it, listen to some of the simple takeaways, some of the simple suggestions for you to consider. You don't have to take them all, but the ones that feel like they resonate with you, I would have you step out of your comfort zone, do it, and watch how you'll be thankful. And that actually reminds me, like the other day, here we are Monday. What day was that? Saturday it must have been. Saturday. Yeah, Saturday morning. No, it was Sunday. Yesterday morning. Holy cow, it seems like days ago. Yesterday morning, I went on a hiking trip. And there was a group of us that were meeting at a beach, and we were going to go on a hike. And when my alarm went off that morning, I was like, man, I'm just not ready to get up. I want to go to sleep. And I forecast, like thinking ahead, if I don't go on that hike, I know I'm going to miss an amazing adventure. If I do choose to go on this, I'm going to experience something incredible. And I'll feel like I missed out if I wimp out and come up with some lame excuse. Sorry, I couldn't make it. Text the group. Sorry, I couldn't make it. Thankfully, I kicked myself in the butt. And actually, Saturday night, I went to bed listening to Jesse Itzler's Living with a Seal audiobook, where he actually hired David Goggins for a month to live with him. And if you haven't listened to that, it's actually hilarious and it's actually inspiring. But I was laughing my butt off Saturday night. And then when Friday night, and Saturday morning came, when my mind started to go towards the excuses, I literally pictured David Goggins yelling at me, dude, what are you, and it inspired me to, throw away the excuses, go have that experience. And I'm so thankful I did. You may have seen the pictures. It was absolutely amazing going on that hike. It was hard. It was tough. But wow, what an experience. And I would have been so regretful had I let the excuses take over. So, don't let the excuses steal the joy, steal the experiences from you. When you say you're going to do something, do it. And even if you don't feel like doing it, guess what? Consider strongly. There's more happening than we can understand. What if? That's exactly what I need. What if I'm going to meet the person that I was supposed to meet and have the conversation I was supposed to have? And wow, it was just magical. So in order to make 2025 your best year yet, you are going to have to step out of your comfort zone. You are going to have to be a man or woman of your word. If you say you're going to do something, do it. And when you feel called to do something, don't push it down. Don't suppress it. Let it shine. I had some excuses. Should I come on here tonight? I'm kind of tired. It's 21:12 here, 9:12 right now. We're 1 hour ahead of Eastern time right here in St. Thomas. And I'll be going to bed shortly after this. But I pushed those excuses. I felt like doing it, and I wasn't going to let any excuse come in. I just felt called to do it. So I'm thankful that you came here. I'm thankful we crossed paths. For those that were here live, it was great crossing paths through this digital manner. For those that are watching the replay, I hope you picked up on some nuggets here. If you came in late, I would encourage you to rewind it. I go pretty fast and pretty straightforward with some simple steps and strategies that might speak to you and help you step up for 2025 to be the version of you that you can be. That 20-year from now version of you. I told you in the beginning, go listen to the conversations with yourself 20 years ago, the conversation with the best version of you 20 years from now. And I look forward to crossing paths with many of you here online, many of you in person at various events. And in the meantime, that one statement I shared, I am me, F you. I am me, F you. I am me fully and unapologetically. I would encourage you to be you fully and unapologetically. And go to step 5 that I talked about earlier. Have fun. This journey's brief, regardless of how long we make it. So go for it. Don't suppress your dreams. Don't suppress the things that you know are yours to do. Step up and do what is yours to do. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to the people that you will positively impact. You owe it to your family, your clients. You owe it to the world. Be you fully and unapologetically. I look forward to crossing paths with you again. And Paul, hope you can do this weekly, brother. You're the goods. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Yeah, I feel called to, my one word for next year is serve. Serve. Because I lead a pretty quiet life. I kind of keep behind the scenes most of the time. I get on, I chat here and there. I've done some good things, but it's time to serve at a different level. And that quote is one of my favorite quotes from Zig Ziglar. You can have everything in life you want. You simply help others get what they want. So, all right, go to mentormetom.com. Scroll down, get that free gift, which is the Quiver of Clarity. And go to that page. You'll see a video, people talking nice about me and stuff. Scroll down a little bit. You'll see that quote, lack of clarity is the root of all failure. Click on that link. No opt-in, nothing required. Go get that knowledge. And those 4 questions, when you know how to answer them properly, will help you get from where you are to where you want to be in your health, in your relationships, and in your finances. I look forward to seeing testimonials from you, being inspired from this night cigar conversation here on the Facebook. All right, I'll talk with you soon. Until next time, make today great. Bye for now.